had some wonderful music tonight, and I'm sure that we could stop right now and ask you to give your life to the Lord, and many people would do that. But tonight I'm going to preach anyway. I think our firemen underpaid. It's amazing to me that we pay football stars and basketball stars and all kinds of film stars and rock stars and all that high prices, but the people that risk their lives to defend us and keep us safe, and the people who teach us are paid so little. I'm not running for any office. I've told the story before, but we went Poland. I think it was our first or second trip to Poland. And I was sitting at a wonderful banquet they were giving beside a Roman Catholic Monsignor. And he was the head of one of their great theological schools. And he told me an interesting story. He said, you know, I got my PhD at the University of Chicago. And he said, when I was there, I was studying theology. And he said, I was on a bus one day, and as I was sitting there, a black woman was sitting behind me, and she touched me on the shoulder, and she said, I beg your pardon, sir. But I want to know, have you ever been born again? He said, I was rather shaken by that question, but he said, I answered her. I said, I'm a Roman Catholic priest from Poland. I suppose I have. She said, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, had you ever been born again? And he said, you know, I went back to my room at the university and I got down my Bible and I read that passage from the 3rd chapter of John where Jesus used that expression. And I got on my knees and I had an experience with God that is with me till this moment. Now he said, my theology tells me that I was born again at another time. But he said, whatever the terminology we use, something happened to me that day that changed my life. And when you come to Christ, it may cost you some friends. You may have to give up some friends that you once had that have been dragging you down, because peer pressure is such a tremendous thing with young people. And it may cost you. It may cost you a girlfriend or a boyfriend who is not the right kind of person that you ought to be keeping company with. Are you willing to pay that price? That's what Jesus demands. And I want to tell you something. It's not easy to be a follower of Christ in this generation. I thought it was tough in my generation. It's many times tougher today, I think. Will you come after him? I know a film star that was high on the list of the people they thought was going to make it big. She received Christ. It cost her her career. Some years ago, there was a fellow by the name of Studd. He was famous in England as a sportsman. He was captain of the Cambridge 11 cricket team. He gave away his vast wealth, because he was a very wealthy young man, to needy causes. He went as a missionary, and his slogan was, if Jesus Christ be God and died for me, and then no sacrifice can be too great for me to make for him. Charles Gordon was at Yale University. He left one of America's greatest family fortunes to be a missionary. Got as far as Egypt. Died of typhoid fever. Before he died, he was only about 22 or 23. He wrote, he said, no reserves, no retreats, and no regrets. He was willing to pay whatever price to follow Christ. And I'm going to see him in heaven. And people like that will be on the front row when I'm sitting way back on the back row. Or Eric Little in Chariots of Fire. Nearly all of you saw Chariots of Fire. Eric Little had to pay a price. He decided that with his Scottish background and his upbringing as a missionary in China, that he couldn't run on Sunday, and he didn't run even though the Prince of Wales begged him to, for the honor of England. But he kept to his promise to the Lord, to put him first, and the Lord saw him through it, and he won another race for England. I remember there was a young man that went to school, I think with David Burnham, who spoke a few moments ago. His name is Jim Edgett. And a generation ago, he went from Wheaton College to become a missionary to the Alca Indians in Ecuador, and he was killed. And before he died, he had written, "He is no fool who gives up what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose." Of Africa and Asia and Latin America and Europe and Russia and China, I'm going to ask you to get up out of your seats and come and stand in front of this platform and say tonight, "I want Christ in my heart." You may be old or you may be young. I don't know who you are, what you are, but you know you need Christ. You may be Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, Muslim, whatever, but you come to Christ tonight. You may not have any religion. You come and receive him into your heart. Let him take over your life and be the pilot of your life. What are we going to do? I'm going to ask you to get up out of your seat and come and stand here. And after you've stood here for a few moments, I'm going to say a word to you and have a prayer with you. Give you some literature and you can go back and join your friends. If you're with friends or relatives, they'll wait on you. It takes a few moments to come, we found out last night, so start now. If you come from that upper deck up there, start right now. Just get up out of your seat. You may be the only one. You may have to pay the price of being the only one in your group coming. But you get up and come. Or you can bring someone with you. Just get up and come quickly. If you're back here, it'll take an extra moment, so start now. All over the place, hundreds of you. Maybe you're in the choir. And you're in the choir in your church. And you're a good church member, but deep in your heart, you're not God. You come and make sure tonight. Quickly, everyone. Hundreds of people have come and are still coming to make their commitment to Christ. You can do the same thing wherever you are. I don't know where you are. You're maybe at home or in a hotel room somewhere. You can say yes to Christ. Bow your head and say, "Lord Jesus, come into my heart. Forgive my sin." He'll do it. He died for you on the cross. And if you will, write to me, Billy Graham, Minneapolis.
This one was Penny Yucky. Yes, the one we have.